Hello friends, and welcome to my Old Coin History Our Coin channel. Here, we explore the fascinating world of coins from around the globe, from rare old coins to modern treasures. If you love history, culture, and collecting, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with our journey into the history of money. The 1973 United States half-dollar is officially known as the Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that represents an important era in modern American numismatic history and reflects both political legacy and economic transition in the United States. It was issued 10 years after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, whose portrait appears on the obverse, and by 1973 the coin had fully transitioned away from silver content, being struck instead in a copper-nickel-clad composition consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and a reeded edge, characteristics that remain standard for modern half-dollars. The obverse design, created by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing bust of President Kennedy with the word "Liberty" around the upper rim, the motto, "In God We Trust," split on either side of the neck truncation, and the date, 1973, positioned below the portrait, while the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, displays the presidential coat of arms, including a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, a shield on its chest, a ring of 50 stars representing the states of the Union, and the inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar, symbolizing national strength, unity, and peace. In 1973, Kennedy half-dollars were struck at two mints, Philadelphia, with no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark, and importantly, this was one of the years when half-dollars were not released for general circulation, as the U.S. Mint primarily produced them for collectors through annual mint sets, a policy that lasted from 1971 through 1973 due to low public demand for the denomination in everyday commerce. As a result, most surviving examples of the 1973 half-dollar are found in excellent uncirculated condition, especially those preserved in original mint packaging, making worn examples comparatively scarce despite the coin not being rare overall. The total mintage figures reflect this collector-focused production, with approximately 2.7 million coins struck at Philadelphia and about 2.0 million at Denver. Numbers significantly lower than circulation-era mintages but still sufficient to keep the coin widely available in the numismatic market. Additionally, a special 1973 S-proof Kennedy half-dollar was produced at the San Francisco Mint, struck using specially prepared dies and polished planchettes to create sharp details and mirror-like fields, intended exclusively for collectors and sold as part of proof sets. And these proof coins are especially valued for their visual appeal rather than intrinsic metal content. From a historical perspective, the 1973 half-dollar exists within a broader economic context marked by inflation, the breakdown of the Bretton Woods monetary system, and the aftermath of the United States' complete abandonment of circulating silver coinage, making it an emblem of the shift toward fiat-based currency and base metal coin production. Culturally, the Kennedy half-dollar continued to serve as a memorial to President Kennedy's legacy of optimism, civil rights advocacy, and Cold War leadership, even as its practical use in daily transactions declined due to its size, changing spending habits, and preference for smaller denominations. In terms of value, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar generally carries modest market prices, with typical uncirculated examples valued primarily as collectibles rather than investments, often selling for only slightly above face value unless graded at very high mint state levels such as MS67 or higher, by professional grading services, where condition rarity can significantly increase desirability. Error coins from this year, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or clipped planchettes, are of special interest to collectors and can command higher premiums depending on severity and visibility. Overall, the 1973 United States half-dollar stands as a historically meaningful yet accessible coin, bridging the gap between the emotionally charged silver issues of the 1960s and the modern clad coinage era, making it especially appealing to collectors interested in Kennedy memorabilia, modern U.S. minting practices, and the economic and social transitions of early 1970s America, all encapsulated in a single, enduring coin design that remains one of the most recognizable in U.S. history. Next coin. The 1978 United States half-dollar, officially called the Kennedy half-dollar, is a significant example of late 20th century American coinage that reflects changing economic conditions, public coin usage, and the enduring legacy of President John F. Kennedy, whose portrait has appeared on the half-dollar since 1964 following his assassination. By 1978, the half-dollar was firmly established as a copper-nickel-clad coin, no longer containing any silver, composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, with a standard weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a thickness of approximately 2.15 millimeters, and a reeded edge, specifications that align with modern U.S. half-dollars. The obverse design, created by chief engraver Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing bust of President Kennedy with sharp classical styling, surrounded by the word, Liberty, along the rim, the national motto, In God We Trust, divided on either side of the neck, and the date, 1978, centered below the portrait, symbolizing democratic ideals and remembrance, while the reverse design, by engraver Frank Gasparo, displays the presidential seal, including a powerful heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows to represent peace and military readiness, a shield on its chest symbolizing defense of the nation, and a ring of 50 stars representing the states of the Union, along with the inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar, reinforcing national unity and authority. Unlike the early 1970s when half-dollars were primarily struck for collectors, the 1978 Kennedy half-dollar was released for general circulation, though public use remained limited due to the coin's large size and preference for smaller denominations, making many examples lightly circulated or uncirculated today. In 1978, half-dollars were produced at two mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark, with relatively high mintages compared to earlier collector-only years, as the U.S. Mint attempted to reintroduce the denomination into everyday commerce, resulting in tens of millions of coins being struck and distributed through banks. Additionally, a 1978 S-proof Kennedy half-dollar was produced at the San Francisco Mint, struck using specially prepared dies and highly polished planchettes to create deep mirror-like fields and frosted design elements, sold exclusively in proof sets aimed at collectors rather than circulation. Historically, the 1978 half-dollar exists in a period marked by inflation, energy crises, and economic adjustment in the United States, and its base metal composition reflects the government's need for cost-effective coinage during times of rising metal prices, while also illustrating the complete shift away from precious metal circulating coins that began in the mid-1960s. Culturally, the Kennedy half-dollar continued to function as a symbolic memorial coin rather than a heavily used denomination, often saved by the public due to emotional attachment to President Kennedy, whose legacy of leadership, space exploration advocacy, and civil rights support remained influential in American memory during the late 1970s. From a numismatic perspective, the 1978 half-dollar is generally considered common and affordable, with most examples valued close to face value unless they are in exceptionally high mint state grades, such as MS-67 or MS-68, wear-strong strikes, flawless surfaces, and superior luster can significantly increase collector interest and market value, while proof versions are valued for their beauty rather than rarity. Error coins from 1978, including double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, or die cracks, are actively sought by error collectors and can command notable premiums depending on severity and visibility. Overall, the 1978 United States Kennedy half-dollar represents a mature phase of modern U.S. coinage, combining standardized minting technology, symbolic national imagery, and historical continuity, making it an important yet accessible coin for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts who appreciate the intersection of American political legacy, economic change, and everyday monetary design, all captured in a single enduring half-dollar coin. The 1985 United States half-dollar, officially known as the Kennedy half-dollar, is a representative example of modern American coinage that illustrates the continued evolution of the U.S. monetary system, public attitudes toward large denomination coins, and the lasting symbolic importance of President John F. Kennedy in American history. By 1985, the half-dollar was firmly established as a copper-nickel-clad coin, composed of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, with a standard weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a reeded edge, and a thickness of approximately 2.15 millimeters, specifications that had remained unchanged since the removal of silver from regular issue half-dollars in 1971. The obverse design, created by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, features a dignified left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, surrounded by the word, Liberty, along the rim, the motto, In God We Trust, placed to the left and right of the neck truncation, and the date, 1985, below the portrait, symbolizing freedom, national faith, and remembrance, while the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, displays the presidential seal, including a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows to represent peace and military preparedness, a shield on the eagle's chest symbolizing national defense, and a ring of 50 stars representing the states of the Union, with the inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar, reinforcing national identity and authority. In 1985, Kennedy half-dollars were struck at 2 mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark, and during this period the U.S. Mint once again limited large-scale circulation of half-dollars, producing them mainly for collectors and numismatic purposes rather than for everyday commerce, which resulted in many examples being preserved in uncirculated condition through mint sets. As a result, although millions were struck, the 1985 half-dollar was rarely encountered in daily transactions, contributing to its perception as a collector coin, despite its continued status as legal tender. Additionally, the 1985 S-proof Kennedy half-dollar was produced at the San Francisco Mint, struck using specially prepared dies and polished planchettes to create sharp details, frosted design elements, and mirror-like fields, and these proof coins were sold exclusively as part of annual proof sets, appealing to collectors who valued aesthetic quality rather than intrinsic metal content. Historically, the 1985 half-dollar exists within the broader context of the mid-1980s United States, a period marked by economic recovery, technological growth, and the stabilization of inflation following the turbulence of the 1970s, and its base metal composition reflects the government's emphasis on durable, cost-effective coinage during this era. From a cultural perspective, the Kennedy half-dollar continued to function as a symbolic memorial to President Kennedy's ideals of leadership, optimism, and progress, often being saved rather than spent by the public, which further reduced its circulation and reinforced its role in collections. In terms of numismatic value, the 1985 Kennedy half-dollar is generally common and affordable, with typical uncirculated examples valued only slightly above face value, while coins graded in very high mint state levels such as MS-67 or higher can command higher premiums due to condition rarity, and proof versions are valued primarily for their visual appeal and preservation quality. Error coins from this year, including off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchettes, or die cracks, are of particular interest to specialized collectors and can achieve significant premiums depending on the type and severity of the error. Overall, the 1985 United States Kennedy half-dollar stands as a clear example of mature modern U.S. coinage, combining standardized production, enduring national symbolism, and historical continuity, making it an important yet accessible coin for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts who appreciate the intersection of American political legacy, economic policy, and everyday monetary design, all embodied in a single, enduring half-dollar coin. The 1972 United States half-dollar, officially known as the Kennedy half-dollar, is an important coin in the history of modern American numismatics because it represents a transitional period in U.S. coinage, public spending habits, and the lasting national memorial to President John F. Kennedy, whose image was placed on the half-dollar beginning in 1964 following his assassination. By 1972, the half-dollar had fully transitioned away from silver content, and all regular issue 1972 half-dollars were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of outer layers made of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a total weight of 11.34 grams, a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a thickness of about 2.15 millimeters, and a reeded edge, specifications that became standard for the denomination in the post-silver era. The obverse design, created by Chief Engraver Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy with a strong yet refined appearance, surrounded by the word, Liberty, along the rim, the national motto, In God We Trust, divided on either side of the neck truncation, and the date, 1972, positioned below the portrait, symbolizing freedom, faith, and remembrance, while the reverse design, by Frank Gasparo, depicts the presidential seal, showcasing a powerful heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows to represent peace and military readiness, a shield on its chest symbolizing the defense of the nation, and a ring of 50 stars representing the states of the Union, along with the inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar, reinforcing national unity and authority. In 1972, Kennedy half-dollars were produced at two mints, Philadelphia, which used no mint mark, and Denver, identified by a D mint mark, and this year falls within a period when the U.S. Mint significantly reduced distribution of half-dollars into general circulation, as public demand for the denomination had declined due to its large size and the tendency of Americans to save Kennedy coins as keepsakes rather than spend them, resulting in many 1972 half-dollars being encountered today in uncirculated or lightly circulated condition. Mintage numbers were still relatively high, with tens of millions of coins struck, but their limited circulation means that they were often stored in bank vaults, mint sets, or private collections rather than used in everyday commerce. In addition to business strikes, the 1972 S-proof Kennedy half-dollar was produced at the San Francisco Mint, struck using specially prepared dies and polished planchettes to achieve sharp details and mirror-like fields, and these proof coins were sold exclusively to collectors as part of annual proof sets, making them prized for their visual quality rather than metal value. Historically, the 1972 half-dollar exists in a broader context marked by inflation, the Vietnam War era, social change, and the continued adjustment of the U.S. economy following the end of the silver standard in circulating coinage, and its base metal composition reflects the government's effort to produce durable and cost-effective coins during a time of rising metal prices. Culturally, the Kennedy half-dollar remained a powerful symbol of national mourning and hope, with many Americans continuing to associate the coin with President Kennedy's ideals of progress, civil rights, space exploration, and youthful leadership, which further encouraged saving rather than spending the coin. From a numismatic perspective, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is considered common and affordable, typically valued close to face value unless found in exceptionally high mint state grades such as MS-67 or MS-68, where condition rarity, strong strike quality, and original luster can significantly increase collector interest and market value, while proof examples are valued for their preservation and aesthetic appeal. Error coins from 1972, including double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, and die cracks, are actively sought by error collectors and can command substantial premiums depending on visibility and severity. Overall, the 1972 United States Kennedy half-dollar stands as a clear representation of early post-silver American coinage, combining historical significance, enduring national symbolism, and modern minting technology, making it an essential coin for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts who wish to understand the evolution of U.S. currency and the lasting legacy of one of America's most influential presidents, all embodied in a single, enduring half-dollar coin.